Hi, everybody. Welcome to Song Sessions, and I am your host, David Pomeranz. And today it's my great joy and privilege to speak with someone whose songs have given songwriters and artists everywhere a true standard to reach for. Along with his songwriting partner and love of his life, Alan and Marilyn Bergman have graced this world with some of the most elegant, well-crafted, heartfelt, and timeless songs ever created in the history of history for this or any generation. Their songs have earned 13 Oscar nominations. They've won 3 Academy Awards for writing lyrics for The Way We Were, The Windmills of Your Mind from the Thomas Crown Affair, and the beautiful song score from the film Yentl. I say Yentl and I start to cry. It's extraordinary work. Directed and starring Barbra Streisand, of course, and they've written songs for pop hits, like personal favorites of mine, like You Don't Bring Me Flowers, and How Do You Keep the Music Playing? And they're inductees into the Songwriters Hall of Fame for a lifetime of stellar achievement. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have a chance to speak with one of my heroes, the unmatchable and extraordinary Alan Bergman. Hello, Alan.
Well, thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yes, we met each other many years ago, and I remember
we collaborated.
We did. It was a song called "No Hard Feelings" on either side. It was a good song. And I remember we were just discussing before the show that that you've been playing tennis every day up until a couple of years ago or such, but you were very avid into that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in great shape. I can see it.
Well, I try to stay in shape. Yeah.
It's very
I work every day. I write every day.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah. So you are writing every day.
Every day, yes.
Are you disciplined along those lines in terms of time? Do you get up in the morning and have your coffee and start working, or do you wait for inspiration, or how is that for you?
You know, I was brought up by a wonderful mentor, Johnny Mercer, who said, get the melody first. And I have melodies. I have several melodies of Michel Legrand's before he died that haven't been written yet. And I've been working with several young writers. A wonderful jazz guitar player by the name of Pat Metheny. You know who that is?
Oh yeah, man. He's on fire.
Wonderful. And he writes very, very interesting melodies.
He does.
Yeah. And we've collaborated quite a bit. And then there's a young composer from Ireland by the name of Brian Byrne, and a great jazz piano player by the name of Roger Kellaway.
I know who that is, Roger Kellaway.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
wonderful.
So I have these melodies with a young playwright. Marilyn and I wrote a play with music. Not a musical, there were no dancing girls or anything, but which was very successful. And Marilyn's not well, so she's not writing anymore. But this young playwright and I have just finished another play with music. I've written 9 songs for it.
No.
So I'm busy.
I can't wait to hear that. Well, I'm so happy to hear that you're writing. And I just heard one of your newer songs called "We the People," which just yesterday you sent it to me, and it's new, and it's extraordinary and as good as anything you've ever done. It's really so you are still so hot in your abilities. But in terms of your discipline, I'm interested, if you don't mind, do you get up in the morning and go to the office and close the door, or do you?
Yeah.
Every day, bang bang.
Every day. Yeah.
Was that always the case?
But then, because it's for me, it's fun. I love it. I've been doing it since I'm 12 years old.
Oh,
which is when I started to write.
Oh my God. Well, let me ask you this about that, because when you were a kid, well, you're trained in music. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
master's degree in music, right? From
Yeah.
UCLA?
Oh, yeah. But you know, when you're Jewish and you're born in Brooklyn, when you're 6 years old, you took piano lessons. I took piano lessons at the age of 6. Marilyn, who was born in the same hospital as I, she was, and born in Brooklyn, she also, 6 years old, took piano lessons.
Wow. So there you are in Brooklyn, a young boy, and
Yeah.
piano and being enthralled, obviously, with music. Did your family take you to the theater? Did you see a lot of musicals? How did you taste? Where did you get exposed to the great writers of those days?
Oh, well, that came a little later. My mother, there were free concerts. The New York Philharmonic had children's concerts every Saturday, free.
Wow.
And my mother took me there every Saturday. And we went there. We went to the automat afterwards. Yeah, more than hard automat. And then later on, and then I loved jazz at a very young age. And I'm one of the few people still alive who was at the famous Benny Goodman concert in 1938.
You were there?
Yeah,
in the audience?
Yep. I was in the third balcony.
For everybody who's listening, may not know, was at Carnegie Hall.
That's
and
right.
it was the first major jazz concert in a classical venue like that.
Exactly.
And it is famous for having, well, it was a landmark event, rocked the house, and that's amazing that you were there.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, I remember it very, very well. My brother, who was 5 years older, who who loved jazz and played clarinet, he took me there.
Mm. Incredible. Did you guys play together when you were kids?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
And you sing too, so I've heard you sing. So did you sing as well back then before you did the lyric thing? Did you ever play concerts or gigs or anything?
I did much, much later. I was in my 70s before I did that. I don't know. I didn't want to go on the road. I wanted to write.
How did your musical training, which is deep, inform your lyric writing?
First of all, it acquaints you with all kinds of music, all kinds of rhythm. And you learn a lot about taste from classical music. It's just part of the environment.
It's one thing to say, well, we use inner rhymes. I mean, there are a lot of lyricists watching, that say, well, I know what inner rhymes are and I use them. But you don't just use them. My experience of your work is that it is so musical, and where they occur is where the notes rise and where the notes fall, and it's the right word at the right time. So it doesn't surprise me that you are well trained in music. I didn't know that, by the way, but it doesn't surprise me.
Well, but also, the rhymes are in the music. I feel that the words are on the tips of those notes, and it's our job to find them.
How interesting.
They're there. A melody has I feel a melody has a context. You got to listen to it.
So when you write with someone like Michel Legrand, who is famous for his how would I say, his curvaceous and adventurous lifting thing. So I'm sure that was delicious for you guys.
Oh, wonderful. He would when we were working on a movie, he would, for instance, the Thomas Crown Affair, he was living with us, and he would come downstairs and play us maybe 5 or 6 melodies for that particular place, and we picked one that the three of us thought was the correct one for the job it had to do, and then we'd write it. You know, Windmills, we never changed a dot on a note in Windmills. That's the exact melody he played for us.
Wow. So there was no a pickup note and
Nothing.
and anything. Wow.
Not a note, not a dot. No.
I'm sure. I'm so happy you brought that up. I wanted to just look at that for a second, just for the pleasure of the people watching. Windmills of Your Mind. Now, as Alan said, is from the Thomas Crown Affair, and this is a masterpiece. And I hope you don't mind. You can have a coffee while I do this, but this is. I want to read this to you guys. Most of you know this song. Many perhaps don't, but I'm going to read it. And the music is. Sorry.
Now, there, just before you read it, let me say that the song was written because the character in the movie had just masterminded the robbery of a bank. And he was flying his glider. He was a bored playboy, and he was flying his glider, which he loved to do, but he was very anxious. The robbery was a success, and he didn't know what to do with the money. He was really anxious. And the director of the movie, Norman Jewison, who was a wonderful director, and he knew about the use of music and song in a movie, said he wanted a song to underline the anxiety the character was feeling at that moment. So anxiety is a circular emotion. And the melody that Michel, who knew exactly what I'm telling you because he was part of the creation of it, he knew that he wanted a kind of a circular melody. And so now you can read it because now you know where it comes from.
That's genius. I mean, obviously, he's right, and you're right. Anxiety does have that sense of, it just goes round and round and round.
Well, when you go to sleep, sometimes you go to bed, you can't turn your mind off.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Well, so listen to this really quickly. I'm going to just go. So, and given what you've just said, round like a circle in a spiral. I may sing it a little bit. Round like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning, on an ever spinning reel, like a snowball down a mountain or a carnival balloon, like a carousel that's turning, running rings around the moon, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of his face, and the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind. Oh my God. And it does exactly what you said. And the way it is posed in the movie, it's perfect. And it goes on, and all of the references and all of the images are circle. And there's even one which says, like a tunnel you can follow to a tunnel of its own, down a hollow to a cavern where the sun has never shone, like a door that keeps revolving and a half-forgotten dream, or the ripples from a pebble someone tosses in a stream, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face, and again, and the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind. It's an absolute masterpiece. I just had to read that and actually thank you for that, because that is a master class in its own. I have a question on it.
Yeah.
You did a very interesting thing at the end. So you've got this image thing, just as you described, and at the very end, you chose to bring back the image of a lost love, which I find fascinating. And it goes like, and it gets into it like this: keys that jingle in your pocket, words that jangle in your head. Why did summer go so quickly? Was it something that you said? See, now it's personal. So did you get to the point where, you did your image thing? It was a festival of gorgeous poetry. And now did you instinctively feel, now this has really got to land and be you and me? Did you think that, or did you just instinctively?
Yes, and part of the movie too was, there was a woman in the movie. There was a marvelous scene where they're playing chess. It's and she was a detective trying to solve the mystery of this, pin the robbery on him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of an affair, so to speak.
But was that part of the assignment?
No,
that Mr. Jewison gave you, or you just kind of knew that it had to go there?
Yeah.
That's just great. That's great. And I'll just sum it up. We can cut this if it's too long, but I'm just so thrilled with this work. At the end, it says, "Lovers walk along a shore and leave their footprints in the sand. Was the sound of distant drumming just the fingers of your hand? Pictures hanging in a hallway which is the picture he just stole, right?
Yeah.
Pictures hanging in a hallway, or the fragment of a song, half remembered names and faces, but to whom do they belong? When you knew that it was over, were you suddenly aware that the autumn leaves were turning to the color of her hair? A circle in a spiral, a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning, on ever spinning reel, as the images unwind like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind." You've written a movie. and it's all the subtext of the movie. It worked beautifully, and you deserve that Academy Award. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. My goodness, I have some more. Hey, when you and Marilyn moved to Los Angeles from New York. By the way, do you miss New York?
Not at all.
You don't miss scraping ice off your windshield and stuff?
Not at all.
Okay. There you go. No more to be said. When you both, on your own, you hadn't met each other, you moved to Los Angeles, and Lou Spence introduced you, the composer.
Yeah.
And you wrote a very cool song. It's one of my favorite songs. And I didn't know you. If I hadn't known you had written it years ago, I didn't know. Nice and Easy.
Yeah.
And I want to just bring it up. I know it's a long time ago and you've done a cajillion things since, but I just want to compliment you also. First of all, it's great. When you listen to Frank Sinatra record this gorgeous hip thing, you've been asked this before, I'm sure. How did that feel? What did that mean? You're a young writer.
Yes, we were young, and he allowed us to be in the control room, and he called us the kids. And over the years, he never stopped calling us. We had dinner with him. We were in our 70s, and he still called us the kids.
That's lovely.
He was wonderful. We never wanted to write records. We were interested in writing in a dramatic context, whether it being a film or the theater. But writing for Frank, you were writing for the theater, because he had such character that you could write for him, especially.
Extraordinary. I do have a question. When you were writing, "Let's take it nice and easy,"
yeah,
first of all, it's a little racy for those times, I must say. Did it occur to you? I mean, let's take it slow. So it wasn't about making love, physical love. It was like, let's take the relationship slow.
Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. Who was it? I don't know if you remember, but the couplet, the problem now, of course, is to simply hold your horses.
Yeah. I don't know. Marilyn, I never knew who wrote what. It didn't matter.
When you write, are you at legal pads? Are you pacing? Are you just...
No, we're sitting opposite each other in very comfortable chairs. And it's like when we toss ideas back and forth. And one is the creator and one is the editor. And those roles change within seconds. That's the only way I can describe it.
Wow. Was it that way from the very beginning? Did you?
Yeah.
Wow. What a gift to get that.
Yeah. We always have the melody.
Okay.
And when we finish 8 bars or so, I say them, because the main function of a lyric is to sing. Those words have to sing on those notes. And sometimes the word that you would love to use doesn't sing. You have to find another one.
I understand.
Another way to say it.
I understand. Yeah, it is a song.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. And I love what you said about the images, the theatricality of what you do. That's what those images are very, very strong. When you guys wrote In the Heat of the Night with Quincy Jones for the movie, you can feel the sweat of the heat, and, from the lyric. I mean, obviously, you got Ray Charles and a bluesy piece by Quincy, and then but your lyric is literally, it talks about that, and the sweat of the night, and you're there, and that's what you guys. So hopefully, well, no, you accomplished it. In the heat of the night, seems like a cold sweat creeping across my brow. Yeah, beautiful. You kind of answered this, but have you ever tried to write a hit song for its own sake?
No.
Good for you.
No, hit. I don't know what a hit is.
There was for a record. There's Johnny Mathis, and he needs a song, and I'm going to write him a hit. Have you?
No.
Good. Okay.
No.
Thank you. I hope the writers listening hear that, because I have, by the way, and I repented each time. It's always a mistake. Yeah, it's always crap. When you were in 1964, you guys wrote a Broadway musical with Sammy Fain, the great.
Yes.
The great Sammy Fain.
Yeah.
That must have been an extraordinary experience for you. I mean, he was the venerable all-time theater. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Man. Hey, he was a lovely man, and we had written with him before. Julie Stein, who produced the play and was director for it for a little bit. He put us together with Sam.
Oh, I see.
He had heard a couple of songs that we had written, and he said, "You have to write a Broadway show." And he put it together with Sammy.
My God.
And that was Sammy. It's interesting. Sammy couldn't write. I had to write all the lead sheets for him. He couldn't do that.
No kidding. He just composed by ear, yeah? He just played.
And his harmonic ear was unbelievable.
Wow.
He heard those harmonies.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll Be Seeing You and all those things. I mean, they're extraordinary. May I tell you a very quick, funny story?
Yeah.
I was a part of a thing called, remember the American, with the National Academy of Songwriters in LA. And every year they'd have an event. And Sammy Fain was presented one night, and he kind of shuffled onto the stage, and he sat down at the piano, and he was about to play something masterful, as everyone expected. And he starts to go like this. ding, 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 boom. I'll be seeing you through all the old familiar faces. And he, and he goes, da 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 pa, and it's over. And all of us were, oh, it was hilarious. And but he wasn't kidding. That's how he wrote it, I guess. He didn't know that it was deep. As deep as it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was just hilarious. So let's see. When you write at home, and do you ever feel like you need to go away? Do you ever get this thing called writer's block? And what is that? Is there such a thing as writer's block?
I guess there is. I've never had it, thank goodness.
Mm.
But
have you ever get stuck? Do you say, "Hey, let's go to the mountains," or do you just tough it out?
No, we try to go down another street, so to speak.
Oh.
We try another way in or another way out.
I see.
Yeah,
that's an indication that maybe you're on the wrong path.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. And you, when you met Miss Streisand,
yes.
which was when, by the way, was it in the 60s or 70s that you actually met her?
Oh, we met in this. She was singing in a little club in the village called the Bonsoir. She was opening for Phyllis Diller. And Julie Stein took us down there and said, you must hear this woman. She was, 19 or 20 years old. And she opened her mouth and she started to sing. And in 8 bars, Marilyn was weeping.
And then, and I guess not long thereafter, she did Funny Girl for him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. About a year later. Yeah.
Wow. My God. And then when you was the Way We Were the first song that you
No, the first song that she recorded of ours was a song called Ask Yourself Why.
Huh.
She did an album. She did 2 long play, albums in those days, LPs of standards. And then she did the 3rd one was with new writers, new songs, not old standards. And one of them was Ask Yourself Why.
Huh.
That's the first song she recorded of ours.
Wow.
First song for a movie was, The Way We Were, I think.
Way We Were.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, The Way We Were is also a masterwork. It is. I mean, for different reasons. I mean, again, the images are so, in the corners of our, memories, light the corners of my mind. Misty watercolor memories of the way we were.
Yeah,
Oh my
now
God.
you see, that song had a function. She was saying The Way You Were. They meet after knowing each other in college. They meet a few years later. He's in the army, and he's drunk at a bar in a nightclub, and she sees him there, touches his hair, and then the song begins, and it takes you back. It's a corridor back into time, and the images are taking you back as you hear the song to when they were in college. And she touches his hair in college. And so it had a function, that song.
Right.
And it had to have 2 functions. One, the corridor back into time. And at the end, it has to remind you of their life together, because they meet quite by accident in front of the hotel
Right.
in New York. and they've gone on to other lives after they were married, and so.
Right. So it's the
And
last.
and if it didn't bring tears at the end of that movie, then we hadn't done our job.
Oh, and it did, and it does. I mean,
Yeah.
Hamlish's music,
Wonderful.
a beautiful tune,
Oh, God.
beautiful song, and
Marvelous.
and his use of it in the movie too. So that last scene when they're saying, well, they're with different people and they're see you later, and that,
That's right.
and that music is playing.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary, but it harkens back to that song.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. And when you later on, when you did the Yentl songs a few years later, there's a quality in those things that are, yes, they're theatrical, and yes, they're dramatic, and yes, they're accomplished. But there's a bit of heart that is so deep in those songs. I was listening the other night to Papa, Can You Hear Me? Which every time, first of all, I don't know anyone who could possibly listen to that song in the movie or out of the movie that doesn't break down and weep tears of, well, loss certainly, but also gratitude. At least I did, from my father and things. But that piece is. I listened the other night again, and I sat in my chair and I just sobbed, and therapeutically. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem. I enjoyed every minute of it. But that talking to, and I know the function it plays in the movie, and it's perfect. But the Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you see me? Papa, can you find me in the night? Papa, are you near me? Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you help me not be frightened?
Yeah.
See, that's my friend. That's what he's talking about when he says it's musical, and music tells you.
Well, I tell you, you have to know that Michel Legrand, as all fine composers like Marvin, like Dave Grusin, people like that who are great melody writers, and composers, but also they have a sense of the dramatists. And we never told Michelle we were going to say, Papa, can you hear me? We knew exactly what the assignment was. She ran away from home, never to go back, dressed in her father's clothes, in a forest by herself, lonely, frightened, and so forth. That's what he knew. And he wrote, Papa, da 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 da. Yeah. And we put Papa Kenny, but we never told him we were going to say that. That's because he's such a fine dramatist.
My gosh. Well, it's something that's beyond a song, and you captured when and the melodies. That melody, I will say, is one of the grandest melodies of any medium in my lifetime that I've ever heard. That it minor, major.
Yeah.
I mean, it just lifts you, and it's supposed to, like you say, he knows doing that.
Yeah.
And of course the end of it, which is the thing that I look forward to, because I know I'm going to have a good cry, is I remembered everything you taught me, every book I've ever read. Can all the words in all the books help me face what lies ahead? The trees are so much taller, and I feel so much smaller. The moon is twice as lonely, and the stars are half as bright. And you go, well, why? And you say, Papa, how I love you. Papa, how I need you. Papa, how I miss you. Kissing me good night.
Yeah.
Bang. Soft, And it's just so, here I go. Thanks a lot. What are you doing to me, Bergman? That's when you know you made. And when you did that, when you finished it, did you know? Did you listen to it at some point, whether it was in the studio or whatever, where all of you went, hoo-hoo?
Well, we had such a pleasure and such a different kind of experience making Yentl, because when we finished a song and we could get Barbra, she'd come over and sing it for us. So we knew what we had. You don't know it. First of all, there's no other director could sing like that. But, we knew certain things because she was there.
Would you ever try to, or would, in this case, Michelle, tweak, like hear her sing and then go, wait a minute, do that note up? Did you ever tweak together?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Anyway, well, the musicality of all of you in one room is a staggering thought to me. So anyway, good.
Well, she had done, she and Michelle had made a French album together where she sang in French.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And the lovely song you wrote with him too. How do you keep the music playing?
Yeah.
Boy, it's not a French style melody. It's a very American.
That's another song written for Norman Jewison, who knew what he wanted, the kind of song he wanted.
That was from Best Friends, right?
Yeah.
The other very simple thing that you did with Neil Diamond, the "You Don't Bring Me Flowers" lyric. Did Neil present you with that music, or had he had it partially written, given he's a lyricist as well, or do you recall?
No, we were writing a song for Norman Lear for a theme. Norman called it, so we had written more than Good Times for him.
Oh, right.
And he said, would we write a song with Neil Diamond for a new show of his? And we said, sure. So we wrote the song, and, a song for a theme is only 45 seconds long.
Right.
So it's really not a song. And anyway, we wrote this, and then he sent over he had sent us the script. Now he sent us the pilot, and it had nothing to do with the script. And I called Norman, and I said, the song doesn't fit anymore. He said, what should we do? I said, we'll write another one. He said, okay, fine. But Neil was on the road somewhere, Kansas City, I think. And he couldn't write another one. But he said, I'm going to record this. I played the 45-second version for everybody, and they love it. So I said, well, you got to wait till you come back here, because we got to finish it. It's not a song.
Yeah.
He said, okay. And so Marilyn and I wrote a talking blues for Norman's show. The show had to do with role reversal. The women took over the world. So we wrote a talking blues. I guess you've never heard that.
Which show was it for?
It was for a show which was called All That Glitters.
You don't bring me flowers. They don't have any love songs. You don't bring me flowers anymore. That's so sad. Oh my God. And it's beautiful and it's great. And every time it comes on, but see, that's the thing that was written ultimately as a standalone recording for Neil.
Yeah.
And Barbra. And it worked, but you didn't write it with that in mind, so per se.
No.
That's the difference, right?
Some disc jockey in Kentucky was having trouble with his wife, and he put the two. So they had both recorded it, And he put the two together, and the phone never stopped ringing.
Huh.
And Columbia Records said, you guys got to go into recording. And they did. And the night they recorded it, Marty Ehrlichman, who Barbara's manager, said it's going to be the #1 song in the country in a week. And it was.
My God. So the
So
disc jockey put it together.
Yeah, he put it together. Yeah.
Wow. Extraordinary. Yeah. But that's one of those rare songs that make it on the pop charts. It's so standalone. It's so classical. What's the word I hate the word classic or classical. The Great American Songbook, but it's venerable. It's like, you know what it is? It's a great song. That's what it is. Doesn't matter where it's from or where it came from. These are just some of the songs that Marilyn and Alan have written. Obviously, it might be you from Tootsie that our friend Stephen Bishop recorded, and I recorded it as well on an album.
Oh.
The Way We Were. What are you doing the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You Don't Bring Me Flowers. Nice and Easy. The Windmills of Your Mind. I'll Never Say Goodbye with David Shire.
Yeah.
That's a gorgeous thing.
Nice. Yeah.
Yikes. We have
he's another wonderful composer who's also a dramatist.
Right. Well, he did a very interesting thing, when he actually left his Academy Award winning songwriting career kind of behind.
Yeah.
But
he was always a
go to Broadway. But to go to Broadway and to do what his heart told him to do. That's what he really wanted to do. Yeah. And he had won the Oscars and he'd win, and he said, nope, I'm a Broadway writer. I'm a dramatist. And he spent all of his life doing that now. And he is extraordinary. He is. I wrote with David. I've had the privilege of writing with him. He's gorgeous.
Wow.
So let's see, just a couple more. I Believe in Love from Star Is Born. And of course, the other song from Yentl, which was so wonderful, The Way He Makes Me Feel, is a beautiful record. I Believe in Love from Star Is Born with Kenny Loggins, and Blah, Blah, Blah. You've written with John Williams, wonderful, beautiful things with Henry Mancini.
The first picture he ever wrote was a picture called Fitz Willie, and we wrote a song with him called Baby Rainbows.
And Mr. Mancini too, must have been.
Oh God,
he's the other major Johnny Mandel, right? Wow. And you're right. They're all dramatists, all of them.
Absolutely.
Many of them are film composers whose job it is to underscore the emotion of a movie, to accentuate character. So these are masters, all of them. And of course, Dave Grusin, who you mentioned, who did so many wonderful things with
Chariots.
Right. Okay, Mr. Bergman, I want to ask you about your album.
Before you do that, let me read you this. So this is the thing we wrote instead of You Don't Bring Me Flowers for this movie, because flowers didn't fit it anymore. So this is, and it's about role reversal. This show was.
Right.
So one morning, the Lord, she woke up to say, I feel like I want to be creative today. So by virtue of the power I invested in me, I'm into heaven, earth, and deep blue sea. Things that swim, fly, walk by, creep, and crawl. Now I'm going to make someone to name them all. Yes, a human was needed in the neighborhood. So the Lord made woman, and it was good. She said, the Garden of Eden's no place to be alone. So from the rib of the mat came Adam, full grown. As time went by, this groom and bride followed the instructions and multiplied. She'd hunt, he'd cook, she worked, he played, or she administered the government, he crocheted. She wore the mail, he wore the veil. Her head was crowned, his feet were bound. He concubined and walked behind. She was, you pardon the expression, the mastermind. So is it any wonder why the men complain when from the dawn of time it's been a woman's domain?
Yeah. But boom. That's great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for reading. That is just gorgeous. So, okay, when I first met you, we were, I don't know what, I was with Kelly, my wife Kelly, and we were in Berlin, and we just happened to be there when you were there recording your album.
Oh, yeah.
But that was a beautiful record you made there. And if those of you who haven't heard it, you can get it on Amazon and all the Zons and anywhere you can find those things. It's an extraordinary piece of work because it's fully orchestrated.
Oh, beautiful. A young German orchestra. Wonderful. Did a great job.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. And you sing just really well. You're beautiful. You point the lyrics as any great lyricist does, but you sing well and you give it heart and soul, and it's a beautiful album.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. It's just beautiful. So, do you have a favorite of as you look back? Do you have a favorite of the things that you guys have written?
It's a song that I'm thinking of called Between Yesterday and Tomorrow. There's several that come to mind.
I can understand you've got so many of those. So many of those. You've talked about the projects that you're doing, which is very exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
See you do more work and create and more creation. What at this point, what is it that you really would love to do? Is there something in particular that, I've always wanted to, I don't know, write an opera or write a country song? I mean, what is it? I haven't done that and I always wanted to do that. Anything like that?
Well, I would have liked to have had a successful Broadway show. We wrote a wonderful musical, for one of the first musicals ever for television, called Queen of the Stardust Ball.
Right, absolutely.
And that was made into a Broadway show, but not very well. They didn't do it. It wasn't done well at all. And that was a great disappointment for us. Of course, some of our best work is there. And one song from that has become a standard 11 o'clock number called 50%. The song that a woman is in love with a married man and sings a song that said, though they're not married, that 50% of him is enough.
Oh,
better than 100% of anybody else. It's a really very moving song.
That's extraordinary.
Maureen Stapleton, who was terrific.
Right.
I mean, she was one of the best American actresses ever. And she was wonderful to work with. Wonderful.
Right.
Loves her.
Really. And with when you wrote that with Billy Goldenberg, I know.
Yeah.
Is there something in the future for that? Is there something in the hopper for that? Or
well, people are always asking to do that. In fact, I got an inquiry about a big summer theater wanting to do it, and we'll see. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have more in you? More shows in you, I should say?
Oh, I just finished. I just finished a play with music. I wrote
9 songs.
I wrote 8 or 9 songs. Yeah, for it. And as soon as the pandemic allows us to have theater again, hopefully it'll be out there.
Good. Well, we'll look forward.
It's called It's called Backlit Memories.
Backlit Memories.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Well, we look forward to that. We look forward to so much more from you. You are a treasure. It's just a fact.
Please.
I don't mean to compliment you for the sake of it. You are, and I thank you for everything you've done. And you and Marilyn together have given us so much.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to write, but it was a pleasure to write with you too. So
thank you, my friend. Well, maybe we can do another.
Why not?
Try another one.
Why not?
That'll be our next episode.
Okay.
Okay, you heard it here. We're going to do a new song, and then we'll present it to you on the next show.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
right.
this world is better for you, my friend, and thank you again. We'll be in close touch.
Okay.
And thanks for doing this for me.
And stay well.
I will, for sure, and you too.
Okay.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Goodbye, everybody. This is David Pomeranz, and thanking the wonderful Alan Bergman for being with us. And we'll see you next time on Song Sessions, where we get to the bottom of it all. Okay. See you then. Bye.